Come down here, show you the chickens. So all the white ones are Brahmas. And the Brahmas we bought this last spring. Our intention was to raise them as meat birds and then incubate them, rotate them out each year. So we had that rooster yesterday's video, the day before yesterday's video. I told you that the rooster broke his foot, so we had to butcher him. But that's okay. We decided against raising meat birds. We've decided that we're going to focus on egg birds. As you know, we incubated some chickens last spring. And here's some video footage of it. Okay, so last night we had lots of activity going on. I don't know what time it was, but Carolyn started flashing her light in there, and I got up, and one of them had hatched. One of the chicks had finally hatched in our incubator. And by the time I got up, there was probably 4 more, and now they're just hatching as fast as you can imagine. Now this one's getting ready to come out, so I'm going to try to keep talking until it finally comes out. Yeah, he's getting ready to come out. Okay, I think he's out. Yeah, everybody's piled on top of him, so you're not seeing him, but he did get out. That's a bummer, we missed it. Where's he at? Let's see if I can move the light. No, he's already took off. Yeah, he's in the back. Okay, I see him. Yep, there he is, way in the back. He's flopping his head around, you can see him. I think another chicken has him pinned down, and so he's trying to get out. They're just tired and sleeping. I keep thinking, oh no, they died, but they just fall asleep. Keep seeing a little bit of movement out of this egg right here. We'll keep an eye on it, see if we'll catch it on camera. I see it. I don't know if you can see it, but right at the top, this little chick right here is chipping away. It's really hard for me to... I think I saw it on the camera right there. This is really hard to show. Yep, I saw it there in the camera right there, just chipped up. If you didn't see it, rewind it. It's just a quick little chain there, right there. That's cool. I'll see if I can see it again. So, yep, right there. So I'll hang on to this angle and see what we get out of this. Now this chick is starting to really make some headway and pushing the shell quite a bit. I don't know the whole process. I don't know if they push and then chip and push and chip or what the deal is, but there he comes. There she comes. Whatever it is, there it is. And we got a wing that covered it up. Yeah, it's gonna make it. Now it is. I guess. Yeah, it's coming out. There it went. Yep, it's out. So all the brown or different colored chickens that you see here are the incubated chickens. And I think we got, I don't know, 16, 17 incubated chickens. Of course, a lot of them are roosters. Now an incubator holds 22 of them. So not all the eggs hatch, but that's okay. I mean, 17, I was pretty excited for the first time around. Our incubator's pretty fancy. It's got all the bells and whistles. It controls the temperature. It's a lot better than them old ones, the styrofoam ones. Couldn't really get anything to incubate in the styrofoam one I had years ago. Duck eggs are so sensitive to incubation. Chicken eggs are a little bit better, but this one had humidity control and never had to open it up. Now, I told you in a previous video what our future plans are, and I got a few criticisms, and I wanted to go through them. I'm okay with the criticisms, so I don't need folks to tell me, just ignore the haters. That's not the point of this video. I'm not trying to get the sympathy vote or anything. Well, actually I never do, but I think started our chicken adventure with the idea that we were going to do meat birds primarily, and egg birds is kind of a backup thing. We felt like the biggest bang for the buck was meat birds. So the first year we did it, we went out and bought Cornish cross hens. Now Cornish cross hens are tough to raise. They're so sensitive. They don't like heat. They don't like cold. And I had to come down every day. It got up to 100 degrees that year. The night before, I get water out of the well, put it in a bucket or two, let that well water in the bucket warm up a little bit overnight. And then about noon, I would take each chicken, I think we had 21 of them, and I would dunk them in the bucket to cool them off. We had a lot of problems with predators. We built them a nice little thing they could sleep in, but they refused to go in it. And after time, it got where they were so heavy they couldn't even walk. I think in the end that the Cornish cross hens as a breed may be a little bit abusive. Now, the meat is really good. It's like chicken. I mean, it tastes like chicken. Whereas some other of these chickens, they don't really taste like chicken. The Americanas have a different flavor. Somebody asked a question, if we butcher an older chicken, is the meat tough? Well, first off, it's a lot harder to butcher. We skin our chickens. We don't defeather. On an older chicken, that is near impossible. I mean, it takes everything you got to get the skin off the chicken. Whereas a younger bird, it's a lot easier. But back to the meat birds, one of the birds, I guess the day before, had broke its wing. They couldn't walk very well, like I said, so they were always using their wings to try to get up, and she broke her wing. I felt terrible. We decided we weren't going to do that anymore. I was trying to answer the question a few seconds ago, is the meat tough on older chickens? The answer is yeah, it is tougher. First thing you need to do is when you butcher chicken, a lot of people say just butcher chicken, throw it in the pot. You can't do that. We tried it, and it was the toughest meat you'd ever had. And the reason is because they go into rigor mortis. You gotta let that rigor mortis settle down overnight. So you put it in the fridge overnight to let that loosen up, let the fibers loosen up. And I think, don't quote me, you'll have to Google this, you might be able to leave it in there for 3 or 4 days. I think we've done that before. Leave it in the fridge, and I think like on the 3rd or 4th day, right, before you need to cook it, I guess it's 3 days, then you can cook it. But we can I guess all of our food. So the canning process actually makes that a lot tender. So then we bought the Brahmas, and the Brahmas were supposed to be our solution to the meat bird problem, so we didn't have to buy Cornish cross hens. And they're beautiful birds. You saw them, they're just huge. The male got up to 15 pounds, but it seems like that we always run into a problem with meat birds. It just doesn't make sense. But he broke his foot. He jumped down off his roost and broke his foot, so we ended up having to butcher him. So now we don't have a rooster. But like I said, that's okay, because we're gonna focus on eggs. We have found over the last 2 years that the eggs give us the biggest bang for the buck for several reasons. Now, I got some criticism on this because, oh, you're always changing your mind. You can't settle into one idea and you're just all over the place. You need to get your story straight, get your act together. Well, I feel like it's an evolutionary process. We started out on one path thinking this is what we wanted to do. And over time, we begin to realize it wasn't a good idea. And I don't see a problem with evolving your program. 2 years ago, we were going to buy pigs, and we decided against it, that we wanted to be chicken experts. And we wanted to raise something that we could be really good at. I mean, there were several reasons why we decided against the pig, but we were getting really close. We were going to go out and buy the hog panels and the whole thing, and just decided against it, and I'm glad we did. This way, we can become experts in chickens. And we have. Now, the nice thing about the Brahmas, although they don't produce a lot of eggs, they produce through the winter. Whereas a lot of the other chickens will stop producing through the winter. We've had some success with our incubated Americanas. They're producing right now. They're mixed breed. They're Buff Orpingtons and New Hampshires with Americana mix, because the rooster was Americana. But we decided that we are going to focus on leghorns. Now, I know that leghorns are very controversial. A lot of people seem to think, oh no, they're going to get sick. And we've done a lot of research on this, and we understand the risk. We looked into it, and Merrick's disease is the biggest problem. These white egg-laying birds are susceptible to Merrick's. All chickens are susceptible to Merrick's, but the white birds are more susceptible. The white egg layers. These are the same kind of chickens that farmers use to produce eggs to sell to the store. But man, they produce so many eggs. So a loss of a leghorn, as long as we keep them separate, Merrick's isn't that hard to control. It's actually, if you get them vaccinated, it's not hard to control at all. But what we'll do is we'll get the leghorns from the hatchery and we'll let them stay inside for several weeks. And by that time, you're gonna learn if they're sick. If you don't mix them in with your other chickens, then these chickens will be safe. If they get sick, then you don't mix them in. If they don't get sick, then we can put them out there. Now we'll have 3 different age groups. We'll have this age group, and then this spring we'll get the first batch of leghorns. And then we're gonna start the next year, incubation again. So somebody said, I don't think that incubation is worth, this is the other criticism, the cost of the incubator. So the incubator, I think, was $140, $150. And we've already got 1 batch out of them. We got 17 chickens. Their argument was, is chickens are so cheap at the store, it really doesn't make sense to incubate. Well, the leghorns are $5 a piece, and we're gonna get 10 of them for the first year. So that's $50. The chickens that we got last year, let's call them $3 a piece, just for the sake of argument. So we got $60 out of that. Let's just call it, we got 20 chickens out of it. We got 17, but just easy math. So now we're up to $110. There's 1 more batch of chickens and the incubator's paid for. I mean, I understand the argument that it's just easier to go to the store, but the other thing is we already have to keep the chickens from the hatchery separated. We can't just throw them in there, so we still have to put them in the house, just like we would have to put the incubated eggs in the house. If you're going to get an incubator, it's a good idea, in my opinion. I'm not telling you to get one or not to get one. It really is your choice. But to support the idea of getting an incubator, there's 2 reasons why I would get one. One, it does pay for itself. So on the 4th batch, your chickens are absolutely free. The other thing is if something were to happen, this food supply chain crashed, or food prices went up, or hyperinflation, and you couldn't afford to buy food anymore, you could still incubate your chickens, and you would have some food coming in. In a video I made a few days ago, I showed you how we sprout sunflower seeds, and I'll put a link to that on the up next box at the end of this video. We will still butcher the 3rd year chickens. I said that we're gonna have 3 age groups. That'd be the last year they'll produce eggs regularly. They'll still produce eggs, but let's say you got a chicken that produces 5 eggs a week. When they get past the 3rd year, it may be 4 eggs or 3 eggs a week. So at that point, they start to become less cost effective because you're still having to feed them and they're producing less eggs. Can them up because, you know, the meat is tough, that is true. So it's not that we're getting totally away from getting meat from the chickens, it's just that they're going to be dual purpose now. They'll produce eggs throughout their life, and then at the end of their life, we'll go ahead and eat them. So if you click this up next box, take that video I was talking about how to sprout sunflower seeds. So if I can inspire you to grow your own food so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.